Here's the Beretta back at my shop and doing burnouts. Hey, this is no time for a shave November, but I'm making so much progress on this thing. I've been putting a ton of hours in on it because I'm getting kicked out of the garage. My old man bought some Mopar junk. These original bearings are probably still freaking mint, but I'll throw new shit in it. Here's these super pricey yellow stuff pads. I can get like $9 pads on Rock Auto for a Beretta. These were like 120, but I needed the coefficient of friction to sort of balance out the bias. Because with Ford Explorer rear calipers back here, I was going to have way too much rear bias. So that's the other reason that I went with these dual master cylinders. I went with a 7/8 and a 3/4, so I can put the 3/4 master in the front, get more pressure, and the 7/8 in the back, and that should give me a decent bias. I also do have bias adjustment here with this balance bar. Okay, so I'm using this little trick here my buddy told me about, reverse bleeding. It's a little messy, which ain't great for my painted calipers, but you're pushing fluid from the caliper up to the master cylinder this way. It worked really good on my Blazer. That was a pain in the ass. And it's an easy way to fill the master cylinder reservoirs that are buried under the dash too. It's not a horrible thing. All this is a 60cc syringe. Suck the fluid out. So I did not know a spec clutch needed a 7/8 master cylinder. I ran a 3/4 master cylinder on my Camaro, the factory Camaro master cylinder. That's why I got this 3/4 AFCO here. And my pedal was still right at the top, disengaged right at the top, which I didn't really like. It was sort of an on-off switch. So I found a Cavalier slave cylinder with a bigger piston, which allowed me to put the pedal, put the friction point closer to the floor. So I did not want to run a bigger master cylinder because that does the opposite. It would bring the pedal up higher. But apparently this spec clutch, I talked to Chris at Tick. Those are the guys with Grubworm with the stick shift record. And he said McLeod and Spec both need a 7/8 master cylinder just because of the stack thickness of the clutch itself. And they don't even work with a factory master cylinder. So I should have done more homework before I put all this together, apparently. Haha, I found it buried in my garage. And this is a 7/8. This is the one that actually came with that 6-speed when I bought it. Yeah, so this kind of sucks having to change this master cylinder. Got it all loosened up and stuff, but there is no way I'm getting to that clevis to unhook it from there. So I guess the whole dash is coming out. Build a Beretta, they said. It will be fun, they said. Yeah, nobody on earth has ever said that. Alright, this is that 7/8 master cylinder that came with my transmission and clutch. Luckily enough, this is all the same thread pitch, same spacing, uses the same reservoir here. So I had these adapters here. This is a dash 4, where this was a NPT, 1/8 inch NPT. But I had the adapters I needed to change this from dash 4 to dash 3 AN. So this is a direct swap at least, but probably should have set that up first. Oh, shit. Redoing work. My favorite. Papa, you want to go for a ride?
Yeah, Papa, go for a ride.
We are going to be back on the floor. Whoa, that's a good sign. That is a very good sign.
Rolled backwards when you push the clutch in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got the exhaust done last night. I was here till like 3:30 again, but I forgot to bring my phone with me, so I'll show you this. Okay, there's the headers. I showed those. Ran the exhaust back here. Made my little exhaust mounts. This one is all good, no problem. This one here, I'm going to have to add another flange. Probably have to flange it like right here because this piece will not come out. Once this catalytic converter was on, that piece will not come out without pulling the whole subframe. So that's going to be no bueno. I'm going to have to flange it there. So I got to buy a couple flanges. And I've actually got to add one more O2 sensor bung. I put my O2s in. And I'm going to have my wideband like right here. I also tack welded in the front of the floor here. I figure it's probably a good idea to have something between like the spin and drive shaft and me, basically. This part here, so this you can see right here how far I raised the floor. You know, here's the cut line, and then here's where we are now. All right, so I'm getting a feel for the seating position in here, and there definitely could be a little bit more heel room. I think I'm gonna have to move this part of the floor down a little bit. Put a little slice in here and then angle that down more, because I don't need that room for the exhaust now. So I do need it over here, but this is fairly comfortable. This foot on the throttle is pretty comfortable, so I'll just move it down by the brake and clutch pedal. It might look a little weird on the floor like that, but my Blazer has a hump on the floor kind of just like it, and it is what it is. It doesn't make anything uncomfortable, and that's going to be the route I have to go here. More rugged than you think. Oh. All right, this will be the first time driving out of the garage under its own power with the rear wheels. Pressure's good. Tack and speedo aren't hooked up yet. Bolts are good. Fuel is low. I only put 2 gallons in it. I must have a ground missing on the front somewhere. But it tells me my ABS is bad. Yeah, I ripped all that stuff out. Yeah, so it still needs some work. It is super squirrely. I know my toe was screwed up. That's just eyeballed. That's not even like beer can alignment. That's done on the lift, knowing that my bump steer changes the toe as it hits the ground. It also might be something with the adjustable lower control arms. This one looks centered really well. This other one here, to me at least, looks like it's offset to the back a little bit. Because it wants to it seems like it wants to crab walk a little, and it is super squirrely. It is deluxe interior at the moment. There's that fix where I just sort of pushed down the floor and then welded in a little patch there temporarily. Obviously that'll need some work. Probably could cover up the transmission at some point too. But it does drive now. But I did have my painted bar here, was just finger tight. So that might have moved a little bit. I tightened up the adjustable lower control arms were loose too, so I tightened those up. And I've got these wheels to set it down on. And then I can check my pinion angle and set that too. That was all stuff I had planned to do, and then sort of rushed to get this thing running and forgot about it. I got some color in the exhaust here. My normal welds that I did on the ground look a lot better than the ones that were on the lift. Okay, so here is the replacement for that tie rod end. It's going to allow me to move this tie rod end down a lot more to be able to get this angle to pretty closely match with a control arm, which is going to take care of my bump steer for the most part. I wonder if the bump steer itself is one of the things that made it feel so freaking sketchy yesterday. Ha ha ha! I took 0 measurements, but that geometry actually looks pretty damn good now. And maybe the bump steer won't try and kill me. Alright, I got my pinion angle all set now. The pinion had to come up some to get my angles right. I use that little Tremec app for my phone and got it where it's happy enough. My angle from the front U-joint to the back U-joint is off by about 1 degree, and that'll be a little bit better once I can actually lower the car, which is going to bring the axle up in relation to the body and keep things a little bit happier. Okay, on my test drive, I heard a little bit of whack whack when it was flexing just right, and the weight on the drive shaft was hitting on this spot right here. So I'm going to grind down that weld just a little bit. These ain't the prettiest welds, you know. And I'm going to add a gusset over to this side. And it looks like I can gusset both sides actually, because there's a little bit of room where the floor was. I didn't gusset these originally because I didn't think I would have room to have the seats fit and the floor fit on top and all that stuff. And there's actually tons of room here. Okay, using that little 110 welder, they didn't come out amazing, but I got them welded on every side. So it should be good enough.
I'm going to try third gear.